Have you ever walked into a crowded room and felt that pang of anxiety? Have you seen someone chatting easily and wondered, how do they do it? Have you ever felt like you struggled to talk to new people? Have you wanted to be more sociable but don't know how to start? Today, I'll share some simple and practical steps to become more extroverted, gain confidence, and enjoy interacting with others. The good news is that social connection isn't a magical talent you're born with. It's a skill. And like any skill, from playing the piano to baking bread, it can be practiced, learned, and mastered. First and foremost, being extroverted doesn't mean ceasing to be yourself. It's not about pretending, but about learning to open up, share more, and connect better. Today, we're not going to transform you into a different person. Rather, we're going to help you find the more confident and social version that already exists within you. Because being more extroverted isn't about being the life of the party. It's about being comfortable being yourself in any room. The first and most important step isn't about other people. It's about you and that little voice in your head. When you think about being more extroverted, what image comes to mind? An aggressive networker handing out cards? A comedian cracking jokes nonstop? It's time to break that archetype. You need to redefine the word extrovert. Stop thinking of extroversion as being loud and the center of attention. Redefine it as being comfortable in social settings. Your goal isn't to become a stand-up comedian. Your goal is to be able to enjoy a conversation without feeling drained. Being socially comfortable doesn't mean being the life of the party. It means the ability to stay connected to yourself while interacting with others. It's not about becoming loud. It's about silencing the internal noise of anxiety. Your goal isn't to entertain everyone in the room. Your goal is to find one or two people with whom you can have a genuine conversation that energizes you as well. Social anxiety is, essentially, a state of hyper-focus on yourself. In other words, social anxiety arises when you focus too much on yourself and start asking yourself, am I sounding stupid? What do they think of me? The most powerful trick is to take the focus off yourself and put it on the other person. Your mission becomes to make the other person feel comfortable and interesting. This takes a huge amount of pressure off. To avoid this, start by preparing anchor points. Before an event, prepare 2 or 3 neutral, open topics. They're your lifeline in case the conversation gets stuck. Think things like, have you watched any good shows lately? Do you have any interesting plans for the weekend? What brings you here today? Having these in place gives you incredible confidence. Social anxiety is like feeling like you have a giant camera lens pointed at you, analyzing every movement, every word, magnifying every possible mistake. Did what I said sound stupid? Do I have something in my teeth? They seem bored with me. So the most powerful technique to defuse this is to shift the camera lens. Turn it from you to the other person. Your mission is no longer to be interesting. Your mission is to be interested. Let's look at a practical example. Instead of walking into a meeting thinking, will they accept me? Walk in thinking, I'm going to see how everyone is doing today, or I'm going to discover an interesting story about someone. This simple mental shift transforms a performance situation, one where you're the one being judged, into an exploratory situation where you're the one who's curious. The pressure evaporates instantly. That critical voice telling you they're going to think you're boring or you're going to mess up is just that, a voice. It's not the truth, and it can be trained. The technique is called cognitive reframing. It involves taking a negative thought and reframing it into a more helpful and compassionate one. For example, instead of thinking, "I'm so nervous. This is awful," think, "My body is just excited and energized for this connection. It's a sign that I care." If the original thought is, for example, "There was a silence. It was terribly awkward and it was my fault." Reframed, it would read, "A brief silence is normal in any conversation. It was a natural pause, not a failure. I can use one of my anchoring questions." Another tip, when your critical self arises, ask yourself, "Would I say this to my best friend if I were nervous?" The answer is almost always no. So why are you saying it to yourself? Treat yourself with the same kindness. Finally, you can use proactive visualization. Elite athletes use this technique all the time. Before a social event, take 5 minutes in a quiet place. Don't visualize the event in a generic way. Visualize specific successes. Visualize your arrival. You see yourself entering with a calm posture, breathing deeply, and a small smile. Visualize an interaction. You see yourself approaching someone, asking one of your prepared questions, actively listening, and nodding. Visualize the end. You see yourself saying goodbye naturally and feeling a small but significant sense of accomplishment. Your brain is excellent at practicing scenarios. By visualizing success, you're creating neural pathways that will make the real situation feel familiar and manageable, not scary and new. These aren't quick fixes. They're foundations. They're the behind-the-scenes work that makes the stage show smooth and authentic. Reframe, refocus, reframe, and visualize. Practice these exercises mentally before you even step foot in a social situation. You'll be building from a foundation of self-compassion and curiosity, not fear and obligation. Okay, we've got the mindset. Now, what do we do in the moment? Here are some concrete tools. Before you say a single word, your body has already been speaking for you for several seconds. Nonverbal communication accounts for more than 50% of the message you deliver. The good news is you can choose what it says. Let's look at specific techniques. The power pose. Before entering a space, find a moment alone, perhaps in the bathroom or in the elevator. Stand with your feet shoulder-width apart, hands on your hips, and chin slightly raised. Hold this pose for 2 minutes. Believe it or not, there's science behind it. Research by social psychologist Amy Cuddy shows that this increases testosterone levels, giving you confidence, and decreases cortisol, reducing stress. You're telling your brain, "I'm in charge." The eye triangle, eye contact, can be intimidating. Instead of staring directly into the eyes, trace an imaginary triangle across the other person's face, from one eye to the other and then to the mouth. This looks like intense attention, but it feels natural and avoids the stare. The Duchenne smile. This isn't a forced, wide smile. It's a genuine smile that reaches your eyes, slightly crinkling the outer corners. Practice it by thinking of something that truly makes you happy. A genuine smile is contagious and disarms others' defenses and your own. Having a conversational arsenal to keep you from going blank is the second tool we'll talk about. Silence is the inner critic's playground. Here's how to fill those spaces naturally. Use the Ford technique, a foolproof acronym for remembering universal and positive conversation starters. F for family. Are you from around here originally? / do you have siblings? O for occupation. What do you like most about your job? This question is much better than what do you do? Because it focuses on passion. R for recreation. What do you do for fun when you're not working? / have you traveled anywhere interesting lately? D is for dreams. If you could do anything without worrying about money, what would you do? A powerful question that opens deep conversations. Or the threading technique. Your main job in a conversation isn't to think of the next question, but to listen for threads. A thread is any word, place, or idea the other person mentions that you can use to dig deeper. For example, if you're telling yourself something like, "And last weekend I went hiking," you, latching onto the hiking thread, could answer, "Wow, I love nature. Where did you go?" instead of cutting the conversation short with, "Oh, that's great. I saw a movie." And finally, the tool that's practically the ultimate introvert superpower, active listening. This is perhaps the most underrated and powerful tool. People don't remember how smart you were. They remember how good you made them feel when they were listened to. There are active listening techniques. One is nodding and encouraging. A simple nod and an "aha, sure, I understand," show that you're following the thread. Another is paraphrasing, that is, repeating in your own words what they just said. So, what you're saying is that it was a completely life-changing experience for you. This type of feedback demonstrates deep understanding. Reflecting emotions is also helpful. Name the emotion you think they're feeling. Say things like, "That sounds incredibly frustrating," or, "You must have been so excited." Connecting on an emotional level is the highest level of social connection. And finally, don't forget the power of silence. Don't be afraid to pause for 2 to 3 seconds after the person finishes speaking. Often, it's in that silence that the other person adds the most interesting and genuine comment. Strategic vulnerability is another great tool. To truly connect, you have to let your guard down. But you don't have to reveal your darkest secrets. It's all about light vulnerability. For example, admitting a little nervousness. "Honestly, these events sometimes make me a little nervous, but the people are so nice." This is incredibly relatable and breaks the ice instantly. Sharing a minor, humorous failure can also be helpful. "Yesterday I tried to make a new recipe and ended up with something that felt more like a science experiment than a dinner." Or asking an honest question. "How do you remember people's names? I always forget them and I'm so embarrassed." This tool is magical because it gives the other person permission to also be human and imperfect, creating a space of instant mutual trust. These tools aren't meant to make you fake. They're like training with training wheels on a bicycle. At first, you'll have to consciously think about them. Did I ask a Ford question? Am I smiling? But with practice, they'll become automatic. You'll stop acting confident and just be confident. Now let's talk about how to put all of this into practice in the real world, starting with small, manageable goals. You have the mindset. You have the tools. Now comes the most crucial part, the action. A muscle isn't strengthened by looking at weights. It's strengthened by lifting them. In the same way, your social confidence won't grow just by thinking about it. It will grow with constant, conscious repetition. We'll give you a training plan. We're not going to throw you into a social marathon on day one. We'll start with warm-ups and gradually increase the intensity, celebrating each small victory along the way. The most common mistake is wanting to take a giant leap. Anxiety feeds on goals that are too big. The key is to start so small that success is inevitable. Goal 1. Service interaction. Your goal is to have a minimal but positive social interaction with someone whose job is to be friendly. Example: ask the barista, "How's your day?" and maintain eye contact while they answer. Thanking them by name can be determined by looking at their badge. Why it works? It's a predictable, low-risk environment. It's the lightest weight in the gym. Goal 2. The genuine compliment. Example: telling a coworker, "I really like that shirt," or "Your presentation was very clear, thank you." Why it works? It focuses you on the positive and generates an immediately positive reaction from the other person, which is gratifying. Goal 3. The follow-up question. Example: in an already open conversation, like a work meeting, ask a question that shows you're listening. Maria, going back to what you said about Project X, how do you think this will affect the timeline? Why it works? It allows you to practice active listening in a pre-scripted context. It starts in places where interaction is optional and brief: the supermarket line, a bookstore, the gym. Once you're warmed up, it's time to find an environment where lifting feels more natural. Social strength isn't built by struggling in environments that drain you, but by flowing in spaces that energize you. Don't try to be extroverted at a party full of strangers if that terrifies you. Instead, put yourself in situations where the context does 80% of the work for you. Classes or workshops, cooking, pottery, writing, a sport. The focus is on the activity, not socializing. Conversations naturally arise around the shared topic. How did that salsa turn out? It's socialization with an instruction manual. Meetup groups or clubs. Find groups of people with whom you share a passion. Books, video games, hiking, investing. Here, your knowledge and genuine interest will be your best conversational tools. Your introversion can be an asset, as your listening skills will be highly valued. Themed networking events. These are much easier than general ones. You have a clear reason for starting a conversation. "Hi, what do you do? What brings you to this specific event?" The golden rule is that socializing isn't about quantity, but quality. A 10-minute conversation about a topic you're passionate about is worth more than 2 hours of small talk at a noisy party. If you're more introverted, this isn't optional, it's essential. Socializing, even rewarding socializing, drains energy. Ignoring this is like running a marathon without drinking water. You'll end up dehydrated and averse to running. The practice of social recharge. Schedule downtime. After a social event, deliberately schedule 1 to 2 hours of solitude to recharge. Read a book, take a walk alone, watch a TV show. Protect it like an important appointment. Permission to disengage. End interactions before you reach the point of total exhaustion. It's better to say a cordial goodbye when you're still at 10% than to stay until you collapse. A graceful exit. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. I need to go, but I hope to see you again soon. Don't personalize burnout. When you feel drained after socializing, don't think, I hate socializing. Think, my social battery is depleted as expected. Now it's time to recharge. This removes the negative emotional charge. Growth happens not only in practice, but in reflection. After a social interaction, take 2 minutes for a quick, compassionate check-in. Journal, answer these 3 questions. What went well? Celebrate this, no matter how small. I maintained eye contact. I asked a good question. What did I notice? A neutral observation. I noticed that when I get nervous, I speak very quickly. What small adjustment can I try next time? Not a radical change. Next time, I'll try taking a deep breath before answering. This process closes the learning loop. Turn every interaction, even the awkward ones, into useful data, not a personal failure. Remember, this isn't a linear path. There will be good days and bad days. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every micro-interaction, every question asked, every moment of discomfort faced, is a repetition that strengthens your social muscle. You're not changing who you are at your core. You're building the capacity to share that core with the world in a way that feels safe and authentic to you. Becoming more extroverted isn't a race. It's a journey of self-discovery. It's about allowing yourself to be seen, connecting with others from a genuine place, and understanding that every person in that room is likely experiencing a version of your same nerves. The next time you're in a social situation, remember, you are not alone. Breathe, shift your focus outward, and give yourself permission to be imperfectly charming. You have something valuable to contribute to the conversation. Your unique perspective, your sense of humor, your listening skills. The world needs more of that. Thanks for listening. Now go out there, practice, and remember, confidence isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that connecting with others is more important than that fear.